Welcome to the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast, where life always comes before work. We're your hosts, Shane and Jocelyn Sams. We're a real family that figured out how to make our entire living online. And now we help other families do the same. Are you ready to flip your life? All right, let's get started. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. It is great to be back with you again today. As always, super excited to talk to another amazing member of the Flipped Lifestyle community so we can help them discover their next steps to change their family's future through online business. And I'm pumped to be talking today, this afternoon, to Robin Molenkamp. Hi, Robin.
Hey, Shane. How are you?
I'm excited because I get to talk to you. This is going to be fun. We're going to be hanging out. I had nothing else on my afternoon calendar but you, and that was all I needed today to get after it and have some fun. So, Robin, before we get started, catch everybody up. I know your background. I know your story, but tell everybody what you do, a little bit about you and your background, where you come from, how you got to this point in life, and what you are doing in your online business.
Sure. So, my membership program is a breast cancer recovery program, specifically for women who have gotten all the way through treatments and are now kind of in that post-treatment struggle, which a lot of women, think they're going to get done. They think that the treatment part is the hard part. And a lot of people, including myself, found that the post-cancer treatment was actually harder. And so after I kind of went through that and was lucky enough to have found a coach to kind of help me through that, I realized that, this is something that I wanted to help other women through. And especially the fact that it was like such a surprise. So that's what I've created. I started out as just coaching women one-on-one and did that I've been doing it for a little over 3 years now. And at the end of 2020, I was thinking about how I have all these one-on-one clients and, I work with them and then just kind of send them off into the world. And I've built this relationship with them and it just felt kind of like almost like a breakup. Like it was kind of hard to leave these women. And so I started throwing on the idea of a group program to kind of support them in a little bit more hands-off way. And so I started talking about that. And then it kind of got out into the universe and people were actually coming to me interested in just that group program aspect of it without the one-on-one. And so I kind of made a little bit of a pivot. So I started that idea in October. And by the end of November, I kind of pivoted to where it was okay, I'm going to set this up actually to be for both the one-on-one clients and then also just women who want to come in and get that group program experience. And so I launched that in January. And, a little bit of my background before that, obviously, maybe not obviously, but I'm a breast cancer survivor. I got diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer when I was 36 years old and went through the whole rigmarole, mastectomy and chemo and radiation and reconstruction and did all of that. And I finished all of that in 2015 for all of my treatments and then 2016 and 2017 for all the reconstruction and all of that. Before that, I've been in the world of architecture as a project manager. My husband's an architect. And so I've kind of been associated in that world of construction and architecture, project management mainly. So I have a very like step A, step B, step C, there's a logical way for things to progress. And so I've really started to use that as I'm building out this program. There are certain things that I think we need to kind of clear up after breast cancer. And then that is what kind of opens the door to where we can kind of start to step forward into our lives afterwards.
It's amazing. Amazing story. And so you're completely cancer-free now?
I am cancer-free as far as we know at this moment.
Wow. Thank God, man. What an amazing story. I mean, and maybe you were just put in this place to be able to help other people. That's why we walk through fires and come out the other side, is just so we can reach back and help other people through that.
Yep.
And, one thing that gets lost sometimes, we talk a lot about business, and of course, money makes the mission possible. So you got to have money or a business doesn't exist. Right.
Right.
But the impact that can be accomplished through a membership program is infinitely bigger than a one-on-one program. I mean, it just is. I mean, you can really touch people on a one-on-one level. Don't get me wrong. I do one-on-one stuff. It's fine. But man, when you get a community, a group, a movement behind a membership, it can really take off to the next level. Well, how did you find Flipped Lifestyle in all this? Like, where did that happen? Do you remember? Or did you just kind of like, I started listening to the podcast? And
I think I started listening to your podcast first. 2020 was, I had a lot of downtime. And I
didn't we all? Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah. So I listened to a lot of podcasts and did a lot of searching for podcasts. And so I think I found you that way originally.
Cool. So you just ran out of other stuff and stumbled over us. That's how it was. You know what? I'll be someone's third podcast. That's okay. Whatever it is, man. Whatever you're listening to. After you get through, Jocelyn, she doesn't even listen to me anymore on the podcast. She's just done listening to this Flip Lifestyle podcast. So that's okay. I'm used to it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just playing around. And what makes it so hard? I would guess like this is one of those things. Like I have seen I've seen dozens of memberships in this general. I would call this a genre. It's like helping people recover from something. We've had people in the community like start businesses around recovering from sexual abuse, recovering from alcohol and drugs, recovering from the death of a loved one. So that I kind of put all those into this category, and it's amazing to see they just naturally, the membership model naturally lends to that, because one thing that people who go through something like cancer is it's a really lonely process, right? And while we all know that cancer is a scourge in our society and something that our society fights very hard to try to solve a problem, when you get cancer or your family member gets cancer, it's lonely. I mean, it's really lonely. I remember my brother a couple years ago got cancer, and it was I just remember thinking like, man, this is the first time anyone this close to me's had it, even though I knew about it. And it's like, it's really a hard process for the person going through it. I watched him do that. Like what makes breast cancer so hard after the treatment and after the fact? Is it just that you came face to face with that mortality? Is it the process itself is physically demanding? Like what is the mental and physical struggle after, and how are you serving these people in your membership?
So it's a couple of different things. What my take on it is that we spend an entire year basically going through treatments. And in that year, we are full on in survival mode. It is literally just what is the next step, and the goal is survival. And we have doctors and nurses and people there to tell us what to do, what to expect, how to, mitigate side effects. We have people there guiding us through this whole process. And we get to the end and we achieve that goal of surviving, and we lose all of our support. It's like, okay, you're cured, go live your life. And it sounds easy, but everything has changed. And on top of that, then there's all of this unknown. And as humans, we don't like the unknown. Yeah. And so, cancer was always there for any of us, right? It's always a possibility for any of us. But now that we've really faced it, it stays there, and we kind of stay in that survival mode. We have a really hard time getting out of it. And that's the whole, like my program is called Survival is Insufficient. And I have a whole story around that, because like when I was diagnosed with cancer, I was actually reading a book that was, it was like a post-apocalypse story. And like this virus had wiped out all of humanity, and the survivors of this apocalypse, there was a group of them, a group of artists, like actors and musicians, and they were traveling around the area with a caravan, and on the side of the wagon it said survival is insufficient. And I held on to that idea after I got like diagnosed. So I was like, I got to get through this, and then when I get to the other side, it's not just the survival. And so like, I have it tattooed on my arm. I got that on my 1 year anniversary of my diagnosis. And so it's a very impactful statement for me. Survival is insufficient, and that's really what the whole premise of my program is we survived, we got through this, but that's not enough. We didn't just get through it. So that concept of survival is insufficient is really kind of what drove me like through treatments. And then in the post-treatment phase, it was like, okay, so what does that really look like? And it's really hard to get out of that survival mode, because you spent an entire year in it. And
it's like, you can't go back to normal, like after you fight off cancer. Like it's like the pandemic, like life feels more normal now, but it's not the same. You still see the aftermath of all this, right? Yep. So yeah, like you got to learn how to live a new life. Like you've went through this darkness, and now like it's the same, but it's totally different.
Yeah.
right?
Well,
At
and
the
so
same
many women
time.
get stuck. So, survival mode it's a stress state. And so we're a lot of times we're in that fight, flight, or freeze. And a lot of women just freeze after they get done with treatments. They don't know how to move forward. They don't know what to expect. They don't know any of those kinds of things. And so the body, their mind, everything just freezes and they can't think about the future. They can't think about anything except for cancer. It just keeps running through, like that red alert is just going off in their brain constantly. Like, hey, do you remember that we had cancer? What are we going to do about that? How do we stop that from coming?
Yeah,
right?
yeah, stupid brains.
Yeah.
Always talking to us. Yeah.
So it's really about, trying to get through that stress state and then opening them up to being able to think about the future, accepting that we don't know what the future holds. None of us do. And yes, cancer may come back, but what do we do right now? What do we do right now when we feel like we have some of our health back, or, we're on the road to recovery? What do we do in the moments that we have right now? And what do we do to make sure that even if cancer comes back, we still are living the life that we want up until the point that we can't anymore?
Absolutely amazing. What a mission. I mean, it's one thing I love about my job is like, yeah, I get to help people make money, but you know what else I get to do? I get to help people who've had breast cancer get their life back. And that's just so fulfilling to me. And also too, just our tagline or whatever is, we believe that everyone has God-given talents and life experiences that they can use to impact the world with an online business. And, and kudos to you for not wasting a horrific thing and just being like, I'm back to normal. I'm going to go on and do my own thing. It's like, no, I'm going to turn this life experience, take this wisdom that I've stumbled through, and I'm going to pass this on to other people, and just connecting all these breast cancer survivors. I think you're going to see amazing ripples from that you can't even imagine right now. So how many members do you have right now? Let everybody know that you got some. It is open, correct?
It is open. I'm currently at 18 paid members, and then I have 8 women who are pretty active, who are my one-on-one clients as well. I have some who
we grandfathered or grandmothered them in.
Yes.
We grandmothered them in. And because we wanted to make sure, because you just had to switch over in tech and you're trying to get everything set back up. And
exactly. Yep.
All that stuff. Awesome stuff, man. I love it. Absolutely love it. And I always tell people, if you can find one, you can find 101, but you found 18. So we might as well look for 1,800, because how many women get breast cancer a year? Or men get breast cancer too, I guess. But how many? I know this one's geared more toward women. So how many? It's probably in the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. Do you know?
It's in the hundreds of thousands, and
wow.
It really depends. If you're looking, North America or United States, but it's unfortunately it's a lot of women.
Wow, man. And they're all just going through this kind of by themselves. I mean, they got their family, but it's just going through it with somebody that gets it and has done it with them. It's absolutely amazing. Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about growing this thing, because this is going to be a world-changing membership, and we need to make sure as many people know about it as possible. Also, what's your website? Just for anybody listening right now, if you're listening to the podcast and maybe you've survived breast cancer and you might be interested in this, what is the website domain name? So
it's coachrobinfern.com.
Got it.
Fern's my middle name, and it's way easier to spell than Molenkamp. So
that's smart. That is very, very smart. It's Fern like the plant, basically. Robin Fern, right?
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. All right, cool. All right. So what right now is holding you back? So we've got some things going. I've been working with you now for a couple of weeks as you joined into one of my coaching programs, my group coaching program. We've got you switched over tech wise, 90%. We're pretty much there. Yeah. We've got the beta group open and people are doing this. You have served people one-on-one, which is a great. I think that's a better precursor for a membership owner, and then even coaching or with courses, because courses, you just make something and you put it online. That's not the same thing as eyeball to eyeball leadership. It's just not the same thing. So you got a great foundation there. You're serving people. You're starting to see this grow. You've found a need that people have told you they wanted before you even kind of realized it, right? They were interested in that over the coaching. But what's mindset issues? What fears? What's stopping you right now from just being we're growing this thing, let's go, from an internal standpoint? Because surviving breast cancer and getting back to your life, we know that inside our head is where the battle has to be won before we can do the tactical things in the physical world that make the membership grow. So what's holding you back right now?
Yeah. So I definitely have some perfectionist tendencies. So how I've run the program and what I kind of set it up as initially was that every month we would have a different topic. And so inside of that, I actually have 3 different topics. I have a main topic that's kind of an all-encompassing around breast cancer. And then each month we also study a different emotion and a different self-compassion technique. And so it's really kind of 3 things that I put together each month. And that's worked okay. The problem, at least for the short term, is that I'm constantly in production mode, like researching and then writing videos and, making worksheets and, doing it's a lot of work to produce it all. And so usually the last 2 weeks of the month, I'm in full on production mode.
Which takes away from selling actual memberships and serving actual people.
Exactly. And then, the first week of the month is always like trying to record my podcast for that month that go with that top, and so I am down to very little time to actually focus on my marketing. So that's
you are on the content hamster wheel is what we like to call that.
I am. And yes. So I have a little bit of angst, I guess, around whether it's okay. The women who are there, who are paying, where I promise them like a different topic, these 3 different things each month. I don't want to not provide that for them, but I would love to be able to almost more take some of the information from each of those things and actually create more almost like 3-month-long programs that people would go through, because a lot of times this takes more than a month and it's, deeper things. This month in June, we're talking about sex after breast cancer. Well, that's a deep topic. And so, I cover like the top layer of everything, but I'd love to actually take those things deeper. So I'm kind of in like this, do I just continue what I'm doing for the rest of the year? And then next year is where I turn around and I focus on creating more like pathways through, or I have a little bit of like that. I just don't know which direction to go.
Yeah. And I think even behind that, I heard 2 fears. One is the fear that you're changing something on those original people that might make them feel like you don't want to make them think you lied to them,
Right. No bait and switch.
That's exactly right. Yeah, and that's an internal thing because they probably wouldn't even think of it, honestly. But then the second fear I heard is that you're afraid if you don't create this new experience all the time, whether it's a month or 3 months is irrelevant. But like this, if you don't keep creating the new things, they won't like it and they'll quit. Basically, like you're not creating enough newness to them, Yeah. All right, so let's attack that real fast. The first thing is, one, everyone can't do everything you do, and then 1 year from now, some of those members will be gone. Some will forget the thing you did a year ago. Some didn't participate and just skipped it and did the next one. Right? I mean, most memberships that I see like this, that have these things that people experience together, right, or go like each month is a theme. Usually you can get by with like 6 themes and repeat them twice a year. You don't have to keep reinventing the wheel, because there's probably foundational things that really, really matter that they need to do more than once anyway, because they're not going to get it. And one thing that Jocelyn and I learned is when you're the owner of the membership and you're the person that has all the expertise and knowledge, you can literally do 10 times more than your members could ever do at once anyway. Because you're the expert, you should be able to do that. Like I can run 4 different memberships at the same time. My members can run one most of the time, about 90% of them. And that's all you need. That's fine. But I'll forget that. And I'll be like, do this, do that, do this, do that. And they're like, I can't do that. Right. That's where my saying, do what I did, don't do what I do comes from. Because in the beginning, I couldn't handle it. I did one. I had a playbook for football coaches, and that's all I sold. And Jocelyn had library lesson plans for librarians, and that's all she sold. Right. Yeah. And we had to build into a system where we could handle more. I think you're thinking of all the things they could do instead of all the things they need to do. Need is very small. Need is a small number. Your people need you to do probably the same 6 things over an 18-month period 3 times is what they really need you to do. So you've got it. So your job now is to get out the filter and to say, gosh, what do my people need? Not what do I want them to do? Not do I know what they should do? What do they really, really need to do to get to the next level? When I was in high school, I had a severe knee injury. I tore all 4 ligaments in my right leg. Like I tore my ACL, PCL, MCL, and LCL all at the same time. My leg was literally severed, other than the artery and the vein and the nerves that were holding it together.
Wow.
So I had this massive 6 to 8 month process of learning how to walk again. And then they had to take parts out of my left knee to fix the right one. So when I came home from the hospital, I was double leg braced in a bed for like 6 weeks straight. Right.
Yeah. Wow.
And there was a lot of things to get back into that. But man, when I would go to rehab, like the first month was like, okay, we're going to put these little stimulators on it. And you're just going to lay here for the whole first month and we're going to stimulate your muscle. Then the next month they were like, okay, now we're going to bend your leg. And then they would evaluate and they'd be like, yeah, we're going to go back and stop bending you so much. We're going to stimulate your leg again. And it was just what I needed to take my very next step at all times. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then it got repetitive. It was then once my knee worked again, it was like, okay, now you're going to come in, you're going to do the same exercises every week for the next 4 months. Oh, it's boring. But you know what? It's what I needed. And the physical therapist knew it's what I needed. So you're kind of like that physical therapist. Like you've got to identify the 6 things that they need and you've got to rotate through those, and your people will be grateful because they're like, someone's going to love what you did in February and they're going to be around September going, I wish we could do that again. And you're going to do it again. And some people need a break and they're like, oh, I've done this one. I'm going to come back to it. I mastered that one. Now the deeper part usually happens in your course area. So like take the sex after breast cancer topic. That's a deep topic, right? But I'm sure there are like 3 things they need to do to get back at it. You know what I'm saying? And be able to do that again mentally. So like, that's what you focus on with the thematic thing, and you can come back to it. And if you want to go deeper, you can add things to it over time. Like when I'm sure you'll do Q&As, people will ask you questions, answer the questions, cut those up, put those in the course. Now you've got a deeper product, right? Without having to make that thing. How many of these have you done so far? These themes?
June is the 6th one.
Robin, I seriously believe that if you just went back to the beginning, like how many of those people have been here since the beginning, the first month of those 18 people? How many people joined in January?
Actually, about 50% of them.
Okay, so that means 50% of them did not do January.
Yeah.
Totally. So when you go back around and you're like, hey guys, we're going to do this one again because I think you need it. And I would guess instinctively too, you have picked the 6 that are really, really important right now. And like, if you go back through them, they'll get better. Right. Mm-hmm. But you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to spend 2 weeks creating anything. You just take them and do it again. And maybe you tweak it 10%. So now it's a day instead of a 2-week process.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then if you get back around to the second time, you might think, I wish we had done this one. I think my people need that after spending a year with them, So that's the first thing I would tell you to do right now is 1, people aren't going to quit because you're not creating 74 things. They can't even do 74 things, right? They need 6. And people are not going to feel cheated because you go back through the same ones again because your heart's in the right place. Like, hey, these are the things I think you need. I want to make these better. I didn't do it to my expectations the first time. We're going to make it better. And we're going to go through it again. And I want even more feedback, more questions. And I'm going to add those to the member area so that you can go back and look through them again. Right. But man, when I write down a course or any kind of training, I write out everything I want to put in it, and then I try to get it down. I try to cut 80% of it out because people can't do it anyway, basically.
Yeah.
Does that sound less heavy?
It does. Yeah. I'm gonna still do July because I'm super excited for that one. But finish what you're in. I'm not saying that 6 was an arbitrary number. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. I just happen to know that usually it falls between 5 and 7 of most people. If they'll just get the core. That's why we have 7 phases in the Flip Lifestyle Blueprint, because I know that you can do this. This is what people need, right? There's probably a little too much in there, but I made so much, I just put it all in there. It's grown over 10 years. But there's some stuff we don't put in there because like the $1 Million Membership Funnel is a thing we teach. And if you don't have members and you're not already building audience, it will just blow your mind and melt your brain. And most people starting out need Kajabi and to write a blog post, right? Yeah. So we got to slow down sometimes, basically. So finish July and then circle back around and use the going back to the first one you did as an opportunity to market as a challenge. Like, come in the membership, come in here. We're getting ready to do this challenge. We're getting ready to do this theme. this would be a great time for you to come in, and we'll use that for more. We'll spend time marketing that instead of making something new.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Cool.
Awesome. All right. So that's great. That's absolutely great, man. So it's such a common thing too, man. Everybody out there's bobbing their head right now going, why did I make 47 courses? I only needed 6, Shane said. All right. So what's now let's talk about the business stuff. What other questions do you have that are like maybe more business related, marketing related, or like the sexy stuff that we all love to play around with in our business and stuff, like not that we don't have to deal with those fears and mindset issues. What are we doing there? Right. The hard work, but what's the other stuff that you're worried about right now?
Yeah. So up to this point, my only promotion has been a $1 free monthly trial. Like that's how I basically get, well, I think like 95% of the people who have come in paid have gotten the $1 free trial. And I am terrible about keeping track of my numbers, but I think I've only had 3 people who only stayed for the $1 trial and did not stay for any longer.
That's good.
So
that clearly is a price that works basically to get people to try.
Yeah. But, we've talked a little bit about like going into like a quarterly promotion or something like that, especially as I'm getting ready to more or less relaunch this program in the beginning of July because I switched over to Kajabi now. And because I haven't been marketing for like 2 months, for me, this is almost like a soft relaunch. I'm wondering if that doesn't is there a better structure to set up so that quarterly bump makes more sense? Because if I'm doing a $1 free trial, well, then there's not a lot of incentive into that quarterly bump. So should it be like a $1 or a free week or something else that I should be doing, or should I stick with that and not try to do the quarterly bump? Or I'm not sure.
Well, the way we word it and the way most people word it is, hey, you can dabble and try the trial. That's available, right? But when I do a promotion, I just explicitly say, if you commit to me, I will reward that. So the $1 trial is tiptoeing in, looking around. Maybe you'll kick the tires. Maybe you'll stay. That's kind of how most people mentally are probably looking at that, right? Well, I want you to commit. I want you to go all in. I want you to try it for 3 months, 90 days. And if you do that, I'll give you a discount. So like usually the discount works out to buy 2, get 1 month free. So you can take it off like a month, or you can even say like, I love 50% off on my quarterly plans. Like, cause we're $200, we're $197 a month right now is what we charge. Cause we have so much support and service, and you've been in there. There's so much going on in the community. Yeah. So we're $197 a month, but I'll gladly, if someone will roll up their sleeves and commit to their family's future, I'll reward that with a 50% off $297. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we do quarterly promotions, usually seasonally. I've got one going right now for the summer sale. Well, not now because it's probably going to air in like later, but we had a summer promotion in June of 2021 where we had a 50% off if you sign up before the first day of summer. Right. And then I did do something interesting this time though. Never tried it before. And we're only 2 days into the promotion, so I won't know until the end how good it actually works. But I did add a 14-day trial on this one. It's a shorter trial because I'm offering a discount. I'm already meeting you more than halfway, right? Mm-hmm. But I wanted to see if a 14-day free trial with a quarterly renewal, like 50% off, would work. Always trying, always testing, always coming up with new ideas and combinations, right?
Yeah.
But the core of it is, while there's tactical things that we can do, the bottom line is we need to increase audience and leads and sales. And what you have an offer that converts. The $1 trial literally works. It just needs more people to see it, I would guess, is a more important question. And then follow it up with these quarterly deals on sales where you can offer a discount. Like, don't overcomplicate it. Like the quarterly plan, the reason they take it is because it's less over time. It's like Costco. Yeah. The reason you go to Costco is you can buy 176 eggs for $0.10 a piece, right? But you got to buy them all at once, right? Same thing. Membership, yeah, it's $1 to try it, but I'll give you a discount if you'll come in for 90 days. Cancel it after that if you want to.
Okay.
So yeah, just discount the quarterly. It's fine. Yeah.
How do you keep track of all of that stuff? Because I know you said that you do a lot of different things. Like, how do you track, like, your ads going to this landing page or that landing page and this offer to that offer. Like, how do you keep track of all of that?
We think categorically. It's hard. I'm not saying it's easy. There's a lot of nuance to data online. Some of it's not. I don't even trust half the data we collect online because some of the stuff doesn't even matter. Like open rates are completely irrelevant because inboxes mask the pixels that fire. So you don't even know half the people that open your emails. You may have a 20% open rate, but you probably really got a 40% because like Gmail, you can't even see it if they don't allow pictures. So I don't trust a lot of the data. We try to keep it as clean as possible. Like, for example, the ads that we run go to opt-ins. They're not involved in our funnels. I only look at how much it costs me to get an email. That's all I look at. And then I do math on the back end to kind of, like, okay, well, we spent 1,000. We got this many members this month. We got this many emails this month. That's ballpark, probably how much we're spending per lead. That's all I need to know, And then on the offers, and Kajabi makes it really super, it's not simple, but easy sometimes. Like if I want to do a coupon, like I can just say, okay, here's a 50% off coupon for a quarterly plan, right? Whatever. Like I can do a coupon. Or I can just make a new offer. Like this month, I created an offer that was 14 days, renewed quarterly at $297, and it has its own data set. Like I just click on stats on that offer only, so I know I can tell how many people landed on the sales page, and I can tell how many people took the offer. It's clean, it's away from everything else, and I just look at it that way, right? Okay. But again, I don't allow myself to be bogged down with data. We collect a lot of data. We have the data. If we need to ask a question, we can dig it up and find it. But data is just another form of procrastination and making yourself feel smarter than you are. My only goal every day is new people hear us, new people get on our list, new people get pitched, and new people join. And then we serve them so well they never want to quit. That's our mission. The data can inform those decisions, but it's not. You don't want to go down. Like I don't need to know. Whoa, that red button on that summer sale really did better than the blue button, right? Like I don't care about any of that stuff, man. I care about, did I show a lot of people a deal and did a lot of people take it? If those answers are true, then we move forward because success leaves clues. So try to step out of the data a little bit, like for all you need right now is you need a dollar trial that's always available and you need a quarterly plan for when you want to run sales. That's probably all you need. And now the game again, instead of testing sales pages and offers and all these things, the game becomes, how can I make sure every breast cancer survivor in America knows about me? That's right. The game. That's the game. The more that number is, the better. Yeah.
And that's kind of where I have started to kind of transition. I have my podcast. It's a small little podcast, but I'm proud of it.
You should be. Most people won't even make a podcast. So, how about that? There's a lot of people listening right now. 90% of you won't start your podcast. I'm not proud of you yet. No, I'm proud of you for listening to the podcast, but I'm not proud of you yet. I want to be more proud of you, right? So.
Yeah. So, it's really about how do I get that information? And so I do a lot of organic stuff, through other Facebook support groups. I have my own support group on Facebook. That's a free Facebook group. And
what's your free Facebook group name?
It's called Survival is Insufficient.
Yeah. I wonder if that should be called branding. To me, starts when you gather leads, right? Like, I wonder if that group name shouldn't be Thriving as a Breast Cancer Survivor. Something so direct. Like if I'm a breast cancer survivor, I'm going to type in breast cancer survivors in Facebook to look for a group. I'm not going to put survival is insufficient.
Yeah. So that's funny because I just switched it. It used to just be feel better after breast cancer. I probably should have left it that.
Yeah. Just something categorical, but you can change it every 28 days. So, I mean, it's not like you can't change that again, but that's such an audience building tool. What's your podcast direct name for everybody?
Survival is Insufficient. Everything's pretty much Survival is Insufficient. Yeah. Breast cancer recovery podcast.
That podcasts are a little different though, because you can use your description and the art to say like survival is insufficient, a podcast for breast cancer survivors.
Yeah.
So that one's a little easier, but the title and your descriptions for the Facebook groups kind of helps a lot more.
Yeah.
So you got to think about the platform. But that's what we've got to do. And another thing that we've got to do is find out where breast cancer survivors are already hanging out. Like I would love for you to connect with like the top 25 Facebook groups online, like reach out to their admins, really connect with them and figure out, because this is going to be an industry that's mission based. And while there's always competition when people are charging money, there is going to be a lot of collaborative. You're all on the same team. You're trying to help, breast cancer survivors get back to their life. Yep. We need to find out where all these breast cancer survivors are hanging out, and we need to network and connect with them and get you in front of those audiences that already exist. So I think that would be a very valuable use of time that you're going to get back from not creating so much content after this month. Is let's go build relationships. Let's cut some deals. Like most of these Facebook group people too, like don't actually sell products. They just happen to start a group that blew up on them, and that's really what happens. And it's like, sometimes you can be like, hey, I love your mission. I mean, I can even set you up as an affiliate and you make money for recommending people join my group, those are great deals you can make partnerships and affiliate relationships. We just got to accelerate the amount of people that are discovering you.
Yeah.
And not just, I don't know if you can target breast cancer survivors. I don't know if that's a Facebook targetable thing.
So I've run quite a few ads to go to like free workshops and stuff that I've done.
What do you run them
at? So I can target people who are, I do an age, and then I definitely can get people who are like following breast cancer pages like Susan G. Komen or Breast Cancer Association of America, any of those kinds of organizations. So I can usually find. So I have people are always amazed at like my lead costs because I can be so specific. So I get rewarded by Facebook for that.
For sure. Yeah. So, how many emails are on your list right now?
I'm at 1,900 people on my email list, and my Facebook group is a little over 2,000. There's some overlap, obviously, between those two.
And what's the biggest fake? Have you looked up like how many people? We don't have to name it on here, but how many people are in the bigger breast cancer groups? I'm going to look this up while we're sitting here.
One of the biggest ones is like at like 15 or 20,000 people, I think. And I tend to shy away from like, Susan G. Komen or any of those, but like the
what is I don't know what that is. What is Susan G. Komen?
Susan G. Komen's like one of the biggest organizations for like fundraising for breast cancer research. Like when you see the NFL wearing their pink gloves, that's all.
Yeah. I've heard of that. Yeah. I've heard of that. Yeah, it's crazy, man, because there's you can cast a wider net too, like cancer support groups. I think there's probably overlap. You know what I'm saying? But like, man, there's so many groups that are like 22,000, 3,000, 600. I mean, that's a great, breast cancer under 40, those people, breast cancer survivors. And like, there's so many groups like 10,000, 7,000, 6,000, 9,000, 4,000, 36,000, 1,000. I think we could go down and do like 50 reach outs here of people of these groups. And I bet we could build some relationships where it's just like I got a buddy, his name's Joe. He does an awesome job with his business, but he built his entire business by going out and making relationships with people in his space. And he got 12 good people that wanted to get on board and make some money together. And he just did webinars for their audiences on a rotating basis quarterly. And like, it's just like, put me in front of 30,000 people this week, put me in front of 20,000 people this week, put me in front of 5,000 people next week, put me in front of 100 people next week. And then you do your pitch and you get people in. And the goal is, one, can you reward them with cost? Like, can we give them the first month, of every member I get, I give you whatever, or I'll sell the quarterly plan on the webinar and I'll give you 20%, whatever of each webinar.
Yeah. And
then you just get a bunch of members and you take them off. You take the recurring revenue with you. But that will accelerate what you're already doing. You're already getting some leads. We probably need some more ways to grow the Facebook group itself, a name change and maybe some ads. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I think these relationship building, man, there's so much collaboration there, could accelerate. Man, what if you had 4 good people that were willing to do a webinar for you a month and put you in front of 20,000 breast cancer survivors and then you rotate through those people, it doesn't take many to grow fast when you're doing it that way. Does that seem like something comfortable that you would be willing to do?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I would definitely do that. It's funny because I guess I've gone about it in a more like I go in and I just offer support and stuff to people inside of that group. And, that gives me, a few people here and there, each week when I make comments and stuff, people will find me that way. But I hadn't, but I never promote anything on their pages because usually that's a big no-no. So that idea of actually asking them, like, would this be something that totally, that
when I go to a conference, the first thing I look up when I go to a conference, I ask myself, who owns the conference? I have to befriend them, not because it's like manipulative or anything. It's just like, that's the person that tells everybody else what to do. That's the easiest way to gain influence, is to gain, the person who's in charge of the organization, Facebook groups are even easier. You can click a button and it tells you, and you can send them a message. It's like super simple. Yeah. And it's like now the key is like thinking it through and be like, how can we help them? How can I help this person grow their group? Is this person monetizing? Are they monetizing correctly? Can I help them with money so to support their mission? I believe in my stuff. I know it can help their people, Mm-hmm. And then you just build those relationships over time by being active in the group and helping the group and things like that. But there's ways to, you might reach out to 100 groups and 5 of them want to participate with you.
Right.
But hey, you get the right 5. All of a sudden you got, your audience may be 2,000 today, but if you can partner with 4 people who have 25,000 or more in their group, your audience just became 100,000.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So,
exactly.
So what if we did that? What if we tried to, I think we should talk. I think in the community and we're in coaching, what we should talk about is the name of your group, how to grow your group a little bit organically itself, to where when you connect to these people, you can say, hey, I also run a group for breast cancer survivors. Right. Mm-hmm. And we're trying to figure out how to help more breast cancer survivors together. And then let's go identify the top 100 groups. We know that groups are just easy right now in this day and age to find someone who has an audience because you can see it publicly. Right. Yeah. And let's just like try to connect with these people and see if we can make some deals where it's just like, let's help each other, And then while you're finishing July, then we'll just go all in on showing them what you got, helping people, and see if we can get in front of, what if you did one webinar in this group that has 39,000 people?
Right.
one Facebook Live in that group could produce 50 members easily, And then it's just off to the races. Because at the end of it, you could even just say, it's $1, and then you give them the first month that they renew, and then you keep the rest after that. So it's just stack members like crazy. Cool. Awesome stuff.
Awesome. Well, I like it.
Well, listen, let's not go. We're getting pretty deep down the rabbit hole here, but I think we've gotten everybody intrigued and leaning in and listening. So we'll stop there, and we'll just try to take some action on this over the next couple of months to grow this thing out. And I do just want to say again, Robin, I love your mission. This is an incredible, impactful online membership. And also thank you for being on the show today. I know that telling your story can be nerve-wracking sometimes. I know that getting in front of people can be, and also just being transparent, like I've got a business, but I don't really know exactly what to do. But like, man, it's so helpful when our community members come on and we have these discussions publicly, because there's a bunch of people in their car or on a treadmill or for a walk right now that are listening going, wait a minute, I could just reach out to Facebook groups and they could learn too, and they could get some help. So that is absolutely awesome. So one more time, give us your URL and let everybody know where they can find you online if they would like to look at more about your program.
Yeah. So my website is coachrobinfern.com, and my podcast is the Survival is Insufficient podcast. And you'll probably be able to find me in my Facebook group under Feel Better After Breast Cancer again here shortly.
We're going to take action on that immediately. That's good.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
All right, guys, that wraps up my interview with Robin Fern Molenkamp. What an amazing story and an amazing mission from an absolutely amazing person to go through something as horrific as breast cancer and chemo, to survive, and then to reacclimate yourself, to integrate yourself and learn how to live and to thrive again on the opposite side of something that is really, really devastating for most people that interact with that horrible disease. But then to go the next step to say, hey, I did this. I think I could help other people who are coming out of breast cancer, who've survived breast cancer, to thrive again. Man, that's what it's all about. That's what having a membership, that's what having an online business lets us do right now in this part of human history that was not even possible until 10, 20 years ago. 10, 20 years ago, Robin couldn't reach out on the internet and impact breast cancer survivors all over the world. But now she's got this amazing platform that is going to allow her to do that. That impact is another reason, on top of the income, on top of the influence, that impact is a huge reason why we start, build, and grow membership sites. And it's why at Flipped Lifestyle, we believe in this model so much. Every time I get an excuse to do it, I tell this story. My favorite quote on the planet comes from Mother Teresa. A reporter asked her, "Do you really think you can change the world? Come on. You here? No chance." And Mother Teresa laughed at that reporter and said, "No, of course I can't change the world alone, but I can cast my stone out upon the waters and cause many ripples." And there is no other business model that will allow you to cause more ripples on the internet than the membership model. We would love to help you start, build, and grow a membership site of your own. We would love you to turn your dream and your mission and your passion into an online business that can not only change your family's future, but will also allow you to go out and change other people's lives as well. We do that inside the Flipped Lifestyle community. Inside the community, we have an entire training program to help you start, build, and grow an online business from scratch and grow it into an amazing online brand. We have live coaching calls every single month where you can come and get your questions answered and hang out with people from all over the world, family-focused entrepreneurs from around the world who are helping each other and holding each other accountable. We have forums open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, where you can come and ask questions and get answers. We have all the support you need to start, build, and grow an online business. If you'd like to learn more about the Flipped Lifestyle community, and check out all of the amazing free opportunities we have for you to get started. From finding your idea to overcoming mindset obstacles that are holding you back, and even free opportunities to try out our community. All you have to do is go to flippeddlifestyle.com/free. That's FLIPPED lifestyle.com/free and start your online journey today. All right, guys, we're about out of time. But before we go, I've got one more thing I got to do. I love to close every episode of the Flipped Lifestyle podcast with a verse from the Bible. My wife, Jocelyn, and I get a lot of our inspiration and motivation from the Bible. There's some amazing stuff in there about life and business. And I thought this Bible verse would be so appropriate today because of Robin's amazing mission and also our mission here at Flipped Lifestyle. John 10:10 says, "I came that they may have life and have it abundantly." Robin is out there trying to help breast cancer survivors live life more abundantly. We are here to help you build something that can help you live life more abundantly. And this is the Flipped Lifestyle, y'all. We don't want to live like the world's living. That was Christ's message when he came here in the first place. Don't live that scarcity, hard, horrible life the world's living. Do things the right way and live life abundantly. I hope that this podcast helps you live life abundantly every time you listen to it. If you're enjoying what we're doing here at Flipped Lifestyle, if we bring value into your life, please do us a favor. Go to Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review. And don't just click the stars, y'all. Come on, type in a review. I go and I look and read at every single one of them. I can't wait to read yours. Subscribe to the podcast. Make sure you download it anywhere you can. And hey, share this episode or another episode you love with a friend. Whatever we can do to help your family, do not be a stranger. Reach out to us and let us know. I'll be back with you again next time with another awesome podcast. Until then, get out there, take action, and do whatever it takes to flip your life. We'll see you then.